Hey, Closet Busters, come on and gather around. It's time once again to kick down those closet doors of life. We're here to escape our BS, explore our fears, and elevate our self-expression. I'm your host, Rick Clemens, bold move expert and coming out coach, and I'm going to take you to the party, the pulpit, the wake, and back to the party of living your life uncloseted. So come on, grab hold of yourself and get ready to step out, step up, and step into living your truth as we explore more stories, tips, and tricks for living your life uncloseted. Now let's get to the show. Hey, Life Uncloseted family. It is time to venture into, well, we're not going to go into the closet because this is Life Uncloseted, so why would we go back in there? But we're going to go into some territories tonight that, or today, I don't know what time it is. I record these things all over the place, so it could be today, it could be tonight, but we're going to go into some places that, well, like coming out, it's kind of icky sticky. And sometimes it's like, okay, to get to this blissful, happy trail, we got to go through the icky, yucky stuff. And sometimes getting there, we need different people, different ways of getting down that path, whether it's coming out of the closet for sexuality or going and doing something that everybody thinks you're crazy to go do, which some people think coming out of the closet is crazy, but you're not. And we go to start to look for the help. And a lot of times the true answers lie within, but a lot of those answers also are outside. They're out there floating around in the universe, waiting for us to snatch them down and get the signs that we need. And when I found this guest, I was like, oh, this is fucking cool. This is really interesting because it is so not the way I would coach somebody coming out of the closet. And what I love about Seth is he's doing something that gives hope. As much as I'm doing something that gives hope, he's giving something to people to help them through this transition. And what I like about this is it was kind of his own little coming out journey later in life. Like, oh, I'm going to do this. And I know you guys are like, okay, well, come on, Rick, what is this? Well, he uses the power of tarot cards to help people come out and to help people through relationships and to help people, well, quite honestly, figure their shit out. And I love this because it's something that may not work for everybody, and it's something that's going to work for some. And I'm going to ask you to have an open mind as you listen to this, because you just might be surprised how it could work for you. So it's time for me to quit flapping my jaws and to bring our guest on, Seth, Vermilya. I'm so excited to meet you first and to have you on the podcast, and to really delve into this interesting space you have given yourself true permission to go be in, and to really help people as they go through these fears in life. And this month that we're airing this podcast is all about fears. It's like stepping through your fears, all that good stuff. So welcome to Life Uncloseted, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here. I'm really excited to just share this kind of story with you.
Yeah, and I know there's always a story. There's always a story behind these things. And you know, yes, we sit back and we have like 2-hour sessions before we get on here and like, okay, Seth, you got to have a really good story. Let's make some shit up. No, I'm kidding. We don't actually. Okay? We actually do dive in. So let's dive in, Seth. I know this is something that, you know, you brought to your life. Well, you're the one who put it in your bio at age 40. So, you know, and I have to say he's quite a handsome dude for, you know, being a 40 something, but, let's talk about how you got here, what brought you to it, and why the fascination with really stepping in and doing this tarot stuff with people.
Great question. I actually first got my first deck when I was 10, came out when I was 19. And then, throughout that time I've been playing with tarot, but I never really used it for myself, and I've never been a fan of use it for myself. I love to use it to help other people, and it took me until I was 40, about 3 years ago, to realize that I really love to help our LGBTQ community work through what it meant to come out, work through what it meant to be on the other side of coming out, especially. Because there's so much that comes up after we come out that the unknown becomes something that you really want to delve into and try and understand.
Yep.
And tarot is one of the best tools, I think, to help you search through and navigate that unknown and the unexplainable.
Mm-hmm.
I love that you brought this up because we put so much effort, and I watch this with my own clients, so much effort into the coming out moment.
Yeah.
And then it's done. You do it. Yes, okay, you do it. I still come out, every once in a while. I still have to come out someplace, that somebody doesn't know me.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm getting ready to come out in a couple of days probably. But what's so interesting is that's just one part of the journey. There's so much that transpires after that moment. So let's kind of walk into that. When did you start first realizing this could be really helpful in that post-aftermath or blissful joy of coming out? When did you really start to see this could be something good for people?
I think the first time.
Yes, you have to be specific. We need to know the hour, the moment, the day.
At 11:51. Yeah. I think the most significant moment for me was actually recent. I was working with a group putting on an event called Transcending the Binary, and it was a health kind of space for transgender individuals in between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Okay.
And everybody who was putting on services in this event were cis individuals. They were working for free, and we were there to provide services to the transgender community. And the effort was to give them safe space, shared space, open space, where they didn't have to worry about anything else that was going on in their lives. They didn't have to worry about the demons that resurfaced during the holidays. They didn't have to worry about the rejection that may come along with the holidays and all of the other things that we tend to experience for those of us who are in a marginalized community during Thanksgiving and Christmas and family. So it was a beautiful space, and I was the tarot reader. There happened to be a Reiki practitioner there. There were people doing hair, people doing nails. There was a DJ. There was some food. And there was an arts and crafts table. It was just kind of fun. And people came up and started signing up to have readings with me. And the power of that was that the space was safe enough that people felt that they could share where they were in life today. And sometimes that meant it was someone who was considering transitioning. Sometimes it meant someone who had just transitioned and they were working through what that meant for themselves. And sometimes it meant they've already been through the transition process. They've already come out to their family and friends, and they were dealing significantly in relationships. What is it that resolves the tension of a relationship? Or how do I now deal with my current partner based on where my head is at in my transition and in my coming out? So the experience of getting to work through where people in our community were today, knowing everything that was going on in the world and holidays and family, and then down to the nitty gritty of just what life is, which is those relationships we have with our friends and family, and how sensitive those were and how important they were. When I got to work with that incredibly open crew, it changed my world. And I want to be able to continue to do that. And I've had tastes of that throughout my life, but this was a defining moment where I went, yes, now I see I need to be the person that helps whoever it is transition from the moment of I am in a space of I don't know what's going on in my life to having some confirmation that where they are is the place they're meant to be, and then being able to move into whatever those next steps are so they can achieve their goals tomorrow.
That's amazing, because first of all, you could see and have that moment within yourself, but then to see clearly, oh, here's how I can use this. And I had a similar moment years and years ago when I started my coaching certification. And I had been to one other coaching certification, kind of welcome weekend to see if I wanted to go with that particular school, and then I was at the second one. And I thought, no, the second one isn't going to, I just know the second one's not going to be it because I don't know, it didn't seem to fit. And then I walked in, and within 2 hours of being there, not because they were doing woo woo and, rah, rah, it wasn't all that stuff. It wasn't any of that. It just felt like home. And then they asked the question, what kind of coach do you want to be? What people do you want to help? What's your niche? Where do you want to focus?
Oh.
And I remember standing up and saying, I'm going to be the coming out coach, and I'm going to work with men coming out late in life to help them do the transition into being who they really are. And I remember getting goosebumps and going, hell yeah, that's actually it,
Yeah.
And I remember I was kind of shaking, and the entire room was quiet because out of the 60 some odd people in that room, everybody's like, well, you think of that, we're wandering through the, desert waiting for the answer to finally, come out. And the room just kind of looked at me, and then the clap started happening. And I thought, I'm really definitive. I know this is what I'm being called to do. And it sounds like that's exactly kind of what you went through as well. It's like, here's this moment. I see this so clearly.
Yeah, that's exactly what it felt like. And it felt like that at the end of a long day. I remember being so wrapped up in it that 5 hours had gone by, and I had promised them too, because I had other things I needed to do that day. Luckily, no official calendar commitment or anything, but I promised them to, and I looked up and 5 hours had gone by. It was me, the organizer, and someone else, and they were pouring a bottle of wine, and they turned to me and said, would you like some? And I was like, it was like I just looked up, and time had gone by that fast, and I was shaky, and I had so much adrenaline at that moment, realizing this is it. Like, I felt it, but I really knew it.
That's amazing. So as you knew it, and now you're like, okay, this stuff has some power, which you already kind of knew because you've done some tarot and stuff in your past.
Yeah.
But now you can see it really, really clearly. So where do you want to take this? I mean, if you could say, okay, I'm going to take this, I'm going to do this. Where's the next thing for you? What is that thing that you're like, I'm going to go do this?
The next thing I'm thinking about doing now is how I can get in front of more people, physically in front of more people.
Yep.
So it's really easy for me to find digital space and to live stream, to be on Instagram, Facebook, all of the things, all the social media things. But it's really difficult personally to be in front of other people. And it's something that I have to really work at. So not only is it difficult, I have to work at it. And it's not work when I'm actually doing it. I realize retrospectively, I can totally do this.
Right.
But I have to do the work to get there. So there's some hurdles for myself in getting in front of people, but that's my next big thing, is being physically in front of people. And that's a big shift in the tarot community right now, I think, anyway. Most people are doing their best to be online, and part of that is the availability. Part of it is generational.
Right.
But tarot started in front of people. We sat across from each other, did readings across from each other in person. So maybe I'm going a little old school, but it's time for me to get back to that space, because it's been a while since I've been in front of people.
But it's interesting that you bring up you're kind of going old school, because this is actually one of the oldest means of people trying to see what's coming up for them and how and I don't know a lot about it. I know enough about it to okay, I can say that. But what I find interesting is I always find it's more powerful to kind of go back and go, okay, well, how did we used to do some of this stuff? Not dissing that there's beautiful stuff we do now. But I know even so let's see, I finished getting my certification in 2010, I believe. So, I've got 7-8 years of coaching under my belt. And then every once in a while, in the midst of a session, I'll be like, oh, wait, but I haven't asked that question. I haven't done that thing in a long time. And that's one of the very first things I learned. Yeah. And it's amazing when I pull that forward, it's usually the thing that moves people the most. And so I think it's interesting that you're using something that has been around and people have used it to help people really step into what they're like, oh, this is so new. I've got to do this coming out or whatever, and be in relationship with people. When there's every kind of book written under the sun about this stuff, there's all these books about how to be in relationships. There's all these, I'm actually doing a workshop in 2 days with a group of corporate people where it's about team building, which is all about relationships. It's about being in relationship with each other. But I'm coming back to some very basics in what I'm approaching. So I think you're on the right track, man. I think this is kind of cool that you're going to step back and go, okay, I'm going to do this way to support you as well as to support others, because it's that face-to-face, let's get really cozy sort of medium.
Yes.
It's amazing when you can do that sort of stuff. So let's talk a little bit about why someone would do this and why some people would be like, no, not going to happen.
That's great. I love it. Okay. So my favorite that's not going to happen usually comes out in ways that are really challenging. People will come in and they'll just be, they'll be disparaging. They'll mock that tarot is even in existence by, well, tell me the lottery numbers, the lottery. And they'll do the same thing to people who would promote themselves as psychic.
Right.
So there's, if I knew the lottery numbers, I wouldn't
be doing this.
I wouldn't,
yeah.
Or I would, and it wouldn't look like I'm in a bedroom that has no paint on the walls.
Right, exactly.
Right now.
Right. If I had the lottery numbers, honey, I'd have a great looking ass. I mean, that's just
right. Do a little tuck here. We'll do a little tuck here.
Those little pec implants. Okay, fine. If I need them at 55, sure, why not?
Why not? Yeah. So the first,
yeah, Seth, can you tell me, am I ever going to have really great chest and ass? I mean, come on, he's a tarot.
Yes, all you have to do is work and pay for it.
There you go.
Ding. Next.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
So there are people who first come as skeptics. Then there's another layer of people who come who are looking for things actually kind of like that kind of question, things that would be yes or no's. And when you're in a yes or no space, those are really questions that you can answer yourself. You're working through your own hurdle. We might, if you want to actually spend time with me, we might actually need to sit down and think about what you're really struggling with or what you're really trying to work through in order to get to the root of the challenge that's in front of you that is causing you to do something that's a little light. By saying, well, how will this happen? Will I get married? Well, let's delve deeper into your question. Will I get married? Are you actually looking to date someone right now? Are you looking for a fuck buddy? Are you looking for the type of person you want to date? What is it that you're digging into? Are you dating someone and you're not sure if they're the right person? There's so much behind the question of will I get married that is more active than giving your power to someone else or the universe of will I? Right. Well, sure. What do you want to do about it? So
and I think what's interesting as you're saying this, sorry to interrupt, but there was something there that when somebody comes in wanting such a definitive answer, and this happens all the time in my coaching, my question to them, and I literally, so I'll put my, bitch diva heels on and go, so how many times have you asked this question in the past, and to whom, and what has the answer been? And it shuts them right up.
Yes.
Because I know in that moment, how they respond to that question will tell me if they're looking for the quick fix. Because if they've asked it to numerous people, they've gotten a similar answer, and now they're asking it to me, it's like, so what you really want is you want Seth here to wave the magic tarot cards and give you everything you need to know and be done.
Yep, 100%. That's it. Yeah, they're giving over the responsibility for their own actions to someone they may not even know. And that is not the way that I love to work with tarot. And I'll tell people that up front. And it's things I've done blog posts on it too, just so people know. All tarot readers in general, we're all different because we're all human. And we all approach tarot differently. when you think of a tarot reader, most people think of the old woman that may or may not be toothless with a bandana
Right.
on her head and a crystal ball in front of her, and she tells you when you're going to die.
Right.
Right. You're not actually engaging with that reader. She's giving you and feeding you information. The bevy of readers that I know and the ones that I respect and the ones that I go to, because it took me 20 years to find one after I lost my first tarot reader. We all are in a state of wanting to ensure that people have the tactical actions that they can hold on to so that they can leave us and then go do the thing. A tarot reading, in my opinion, should be transformational. It's not. Yes, there's room for fun if you're out at a party. Yes, there's room for fun if you're at an event, and they can be fun. They can be light, and I hope that at some point they are. But sometimes there's some challenging conversations to have, and my effort, whether it's light or challenging, is to ensure that you leave my table with something to do. You're coming to me because there was something you needed to work on, work through, or fix, or understand. And I don't want you to leave without homework.
That's exactly what any of this modality is. If somebody's saying they're going to help you do something, my question has always been, okay, how are you going to help me do that? Well, we're going to talk about stuff. Okay, there's only so much talk therapy bullshit you can do. And any therapist, please don't take offense to that, because God knows I need more. But it's one of those interesting spaces when you, again, I love how you positioned it. When you relinquish the control and give this person, okay, you're supposed to come up with this for me, then you're not doing the work. But what you should be doing is coming to, whether it's a coach, whether it is a therapist, whether it's a tarot reader, I believe you're coming because you want some guidance. You want some insight that you're not seeing for yourself, that you probably have access to. You don't realize you actually have access to this intuition and stuff.
Yes.
But you need the guidance. You need the card. You need something to trigger what you're looking for the most. And then to be able to take and do something with it is where the real work and the payoff in my mind comes. It isn't going to be like, okay, here's these pretty little cards, and depending on what they are, and I like that one because it's this really cool looking woman on it. Oh yeah, and there's the this guy that looks like a warrior or whatever. Like, okay, no, don't get caught up in that. Now, of course, I'm quite sure since Seth is gay, he's probably got like a rainbow tarot card. They're all RuPaul, past drag contestants. At the RuPaul
there is a drag race
card
deck.
So
there is a drag race deck.
Is there really?
Yes,
I was joking. Well, shit. I was hoping I maybe came up with something that we can both make some money off of here.
Right? Sorry, it's already out there.
Oh well, we'll figure something out, because all you got to do is put two queens in a closet, like I am, and we'll figure something out to make money.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. But well, this is interesting. So what I love about this is it's a different way of going about figuring something out, and somebody could come coach with me, or they could come do this with you and get guidance that would be different than what I would do. And the reason I wanted Seth to be on the podcast was don't think there's only one way. And I know some people aren't thinking that, but I'm always amazed. And I wonder if you have had this experience, Seth, where, okay, well, you're coming out. Well, so let us tell you how to do this. Bullshit. There is no one way to do this. There is no guarantee that if you do it this way or that way or whatever, that it's going to work. And what I think I'm hearing behind this is the beauty of the tarot is it really dials in to you, who you are, where you are, how you see the journey, and helps you see it in a different light with maybe some different alternatives than what you thought.
Yes, that's beautiful.
Well, I used to do marketing, so there you go. I just wrote a marketing website for you, man. So
thank you. Yeah, that'll go on my about page.
Yeah, exactly. So, but do you find this that people are like, yeah, I've tried these other things, or do they just kind of, yeah, let's start with this, and then suddenly, and I'm sure it happens both ways. They try it and they're like, oh wow, I didn't realize I was going to get this. They go in both directions. Like either they know what they want, or they get surprised by it. which is more.
Yeah, both of those things happen. And I'm an example of one of those. So the first time I ever got a tarot reading, I blew my socks off. But the challenge for me was,
okay, but I want to know what color were those socks?
Right. Well, I was 20, so they were probably white Hanes socks.
Okay, there we go.
So I had this great reading, but the reading was great because I'd never had one before. And she told me all these things I already knew about my life. So there's a lot of confirmation, and I didn't know her. So I was like, wow, how do you know all this stuff? But then there was no what to do after. So that was part of my journey in going, I need this to have actionable steps after. And then after I lost her and I didn't find another reader for 20 years, literally almost to the day, I was looking for the reader that was going to be able to give me more than what I'd originally experienced. But I also wanted someone who I could talk to, kind of like we're talking. You know, there's an ease, there's a comfortableness, there's an ability to throw out the kind of language that is most comfortable for you. There's like I told someone recently, and she came to a reading for me about where her love life was headed. And she's had a lot of ups and downs. I've been reading for her for a little while. And this one was an odd one. It was kind of fun. And the result of the reading was, listen, I know you're not dating anybody right now, but if anybody comes along, no sex. You can't get laid because you're going to get Peter poisoning. And the friend of mine came up with this term, but it was the only thing it just kept coming, kind of like that statement where you said, I needed to use this technique. It was your intuition kicked in. It's kind of, sometimes phrases come to me.
Right.
And I was like, you're going to get Peter poisoning. She said, what does that mean? You're going to get so addicted to the sex. It's going to be so good. You're going to miss everything else about this relationship. It's terrible. So there are moments where confirmation happens like that, and it feels good to the other person. They're going, oh yeah, I do kind of feel like that's where I am right now. And then there are other moments where I had someone come to me who her relationship with her fiance had ended, and after it ended, he passed away in a car crash. And she had come to me because she was trying to get a business off the ground. And it was a business that they had begun together after their marriage, after the engagement had ended. So they were really good friends, right? Strong friendship. And they were trying to get this business started. Well, he passed. And so she was trying to figure out how to do it on her own. And we had a great reading about she needed to go find writing and journals. Just, oh yeah, I've got all these notes that I took when I was learning from him. So there were these mini confirmations for her of things that I would have no idea what was going on. But what was cool and what surprised her was two of the cards that came up were a 4 and a 3. And at the end of the reading, she says, I just have to share something with you. Before he passed, he had told me, anytime I see the number 4 and 3 together, it means I love you. That was one of those, like, your mind explodes moments. Right. I was as surprised as she was. And that's the kind of thing that tarot has the power to tap into that other forms of support or understanding won't.
It's so interesting because some people are going to hear what you just said and go, bullshit. Yet those same people will be amazed when they find a $1 bill or a $10 bill or a $20 bill in their pocket jacket when they most needed it. It's like you can scoff at certain things and, fine, everybody has their own stuff. But to me, I see all of this as it's the universe's way of saying, hello, we're here. Are you listening? And take it for what it is. I believe that these are beautiful manifestations that say, hey, we're not getting your attention over here, so we're going to try to get it over here. And then, okay, we're going to try and get it here until you finally listen and you hear and you truly take in what's in your best interest. And for any of our queer brothers and sisters, and anybody else, obviously you can tell that Seth works with, the others as well. But especially our queer brothers and sisters, sometimes because we are the fringe, we are the others in our own way. I find it fascinating to go explore, whether it's Reiki, whether it's tarot, psychic, whatever. I find it interesting to go explore these things along with what you're doing with a therapist or a coach or a support group, because sometimes you might become numb to the comfortable. And it's in the uncomfortable and the questioning, at least in my life, is what I've found, when the best answers show up. And it may come from something you're not used to normally doing. It may come from going and have a tarot card reading when you've never had one in your life. It may come from, okay, I'm going to go hire a coach for a month and see what happens, but I'm not sure I really get this coaching. Fine. But push yourself outside the comfort zone, because guess what, bitches? Coming out of the closet, you're pushing yourself outside the comfort zone anyway. So what's it going to hurt, to go do this? And what I find also so interesting is you can have blind faith in a God and a higher being, but you can't have blind faith in something like this. How do you know it's not all happening in the same source? It's just being presented in a different medium.
What's
That's me getting up on my little soapbox going, okay, listen, this truth is being spoken.
I love this soapbox because there's so much going on there.
Yeah.
I love the concept of being on that fringe, because for so long, as members of this queer community, we've had to forge our own path and go our own way whenever that path opened itself up to us.
Yep.
And tarot is the same kind of thing. It doesn't call to everyone. It calls to those of us who are meant to use it, and it's called to those of us who are meant to hear the message that it can bring. Mm-hmm. So I 100% wholeheartedly agree with all of that. I think it's amazing. And one of the other thing that you mentioned, maybe this spirituality, divinity, these things could all be connected, interrelated. Maybe they're not as different as we think they are. One of the things that I hear most about tarot is, or a question I get often is, well, isn't it satanic or of the devil, or aren't you devil worshiping if you're using the tarot? And what I've discovered in the 30 years that I've been working with these decks, they're 30 plus, there is so much iconic religious iconography in the cards.
Yep.
It's based in religious experience. In the deck that most people know, the Rider-Waite-Smith, there's the 4 archangels are in there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's not as scary as one might think. I think the fear comes from the fact that tarot used to be a game. People used to gamble with the game. Gambling was evil and bad in the eyes of the church. Tarot got associated with the gambling, and next thing you know, it's just all kind of tumbling into this evil space.
Well, and you kind of took the words out of my mouth. It's like anything can become this thing that's not good. I mean, all we have to do is look around what's going on in this place we want to call the United States these days, to see that there's so many things that can be grabbed and say, oh, this isn't good and that isn't good. And but it's just because it's something different. I mean, for those of you who are listening who are queer, and even those that aren't, because this is a open podcast to many different kinds of lives and lifestyles and everything, I encourage you to think about it from the perspective of your sexuality, because there's so many different sexualities out there. Somebody's going to be different. Even a heterosexual is different in its own way. If it was not the norm, it would be different. If homosexuality was the norm, then heterosexuality would be the difference. And so when you look for these modes of support and help, I'd invite you to look at it from what's going to do me the best for me. Go explore it. Go figure it out. Go try some different things and let yourself truly be surprised and open to the experience. I mean, hell, Most of us are open to, okay, sure, fine, I'll bottom once and see how that goes, let's be open to the experience, and then, okay, no, that's not for me. Fine. I think of tarot. Now, I don't even want to put tarot in that. Actually, forgive me for that. But you get where I'm going, folks. It's like, give it a try. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You don't need, guess what? You don't need lube for tarot. So there you go. A lube-free zone right there. So, so yeah, I'm so glad I'm so glad you reached out and you brought this to my attention, man, because I'd never even thought of this. I know I'm getting old and senile, so that's probably why some of this stuff doesn't show up these days. But it is such a beautiful opportunity to start to explore, especially as you positioned it, Seth, with the post coming out stuff and the relationship stuff. And I know you spend a lot of time in relationships and really helping people through that stuff, because you know what? That's where we tend to screw up as humans, whether it's an intimate relationship, a friendship, a parent, whatever. Our relationships is where we play in the playground of fuck ups all the time. And I just thank God they do, because then you and I have plenty of work to do. So, so I'm really glad. And you actually have an offer that I want to make sure everybody knows about. Yes, we're going to sell a little something here, but if you want some time with Seth, how could they do that? And how could they get a little bit of a discount on what they're doing, man?
Great question. You can always find out more about me at comingoutttarot.com, and all of my social media, if you're whichever one you're on, is all at Coming Out Tarot. For anybody who's listening to this podcast, I'm happy to give you 10% off a relationship reading, especially as we get closer and closer to Valentine's Day, or if this is after Valentine's Day.
They can use it for like the next Valentine's Day, because I'm sure somebody's going to come to you and go, am I going to have a boyfriend by next Valentine's? Well, bitch, I don't know. We got to go deeper now.
How bad do you want one? What are you willing to do for that boyfriend?
So
there's a code out there, and it's just uncloseted.
Yep. And it's on the website. It's going to be there. You're going to see Seth's beautiful face. Except, I'm going to just say this. He sent me this like headshot with like this scruffy beard, and now I'm like looking at him like, okay, who is this bitch? I
just got rid of it. Listen. Okay, so wait. I was under duress. My husband went in for some surgery. He hates my beard. He doesn't hate the beard. He just prefers me without the beard. And I love to have the beard. So right before surgery, I thought, let me throw him a bone.
Yep.
So I shaved off the beard.
What a good husband.
See, it was a little thing.
Yeah, well,
and he didn't notice.
I know, when you put throwing the bone and little thing in the same sentence, I don't even want to go there, So, yeah. But, that's
he
cool.
didn't notice right away. He noticed right before surgery, though, when the drugs kicked in.
Oh. Okay.
He's like, oh, you shaved it. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
It's like, okay, fine. You got to be drugged up, bitch, to see it. Great. Got your number now.
Got it. Yeah.
Oh, well, I am so glad we got to spend this time together. I feel like we're already old girlfriends.
Carol?
I just don't know. It's like, we'll be sitting in some nursing home someday and, oh my God, what are you doing here? You still doing that tarot thing, girl? We'll be going, what is that thing? Oh, that's not a pacemaker. That's actually your podcast. You're still doing that, bitch?
Are you still tied to that microphone?
Yeah, exactly. No shit. So, well, hey, man, I'm so glad. Thank you for sharing. Thanks for giving us another way to look at this, because I don't know that enough people go explore. Okay, well, yeah, I think some people go explore. Okay, yes, but they don't explore how something else might serve them better, and then they get frustrated, and then they don't do anything, and then they go way down paths that they don't need to go down when they could say, hey, let's try something new. So, thank you, sir, for being here, and I can't wait to see what comes from this. We're going to look in the cards and see where this might go, and
yes.
We're hoping that, this is going to take you and us somewhere that you all want to be going. So I think we're not going to shut the closet door on this one, because we never go back into the closet. Once we've opened the door, we are out. But I'm going to encourage each of you to think about making a bold move to do something different, especially like a tarot reading with Seth. That would be like, okay, do this. Okay. And I'm not getting any kickback. The bitch won't give me any kickback on that. It's just, here we are. So, but anyway, Seth, thanks so much, man, for being here. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
And I hope that you all will think about what you could do differently to get the answers for your life.
All right, there you have it. Another episode of Life Uncloseted has come to an end, but that's okay. We're going to be back in just a couple of days sharing more stories, tips, tricks, and wisdom for helping you live your life uncloseted. And you know what? You can share it too. Just take a few moments if you like and if you believe in this podcast and share it with someone you know today. Share it from your phone, go share it on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you are. Maybe even give us a rating and review because you know what? It's all about the planet living their life uncloseted. I'm Rick Clemens, host of the show and the guy who helps you make those big, bold moves. And I hope you never stop stepping out, stepping up, and stepping in to living your life uncloseted. Catch you real soon. Take care, everyone.